Jesus freak here. Nice day and felt like getting out. Though I was trying to get away from the computer for a bit too. Someone I was talking to on Discord was advising me a bit about using AI models, large language models, for retro development. And I'm like, it's something I got mixed feelings about. But within certain restrictions, I think, using AI for like reverse engineering for grunt work. I mean, the idea I had was basically this summed up. It's got to be integrative, extrapolative, or reconstructive. Integrative means I'm taking like two pieces of code and having an AI write the glue. Extrapolative means I have a model for one thing that I want to do, or one thing that it did and no longer want it to do, and I want it to do something else. And again, I'm using AI to fill in with glue. And the third is reconstructive. I hate sometimes. This is your decompilation, disassembly, digging deep into the code and trying to figure out what it does. And for anything that's not like throwaway stuff, and to date, most of my stuff has been just throwaway. I think, within these limitations, that's acceptable. Well, I started to experiment first with a model called Gemini 3. It's not very good, but it's free. And I did get some interesting results out of it. So I've had it beating on some lower priority projects or some smaller ones. Then I decided to pay for a couple more models, figuring, you pay a month at a time.
Wait.
And if you cancel it, my phone went off. If you cancel the plan in the middle of a month, they won't shut you out of using it until the end of the cycle. So I'm like, oh, okay. Long as I can still afford it without, choking myself. As long as I still need it for what I'm doing, I keep going. This is $20 for Claude and $20 for Codex or ChatGPT. These have their limitations too, to get you to pay for the $200 versions or to, get additional a la carte tokens on top. That's probably where the real money is. But it's already been impressive. I took an unfinished program that I wrote back in 22, and I said, in 24, IBM released this version, which is complete, but the part that I want to replace corresponds to the part that I've written myself. And although the result probably still needs a little fine tuning, it absolutely seems to work. So I decided to throw another project that was galling me. Initially, building the MS-DOS source code. Don't worry if you don't know what I'm talking about. Had to be built on DOS or on something that could run DOS applications. That's a lot of overhead when you're running Linux. I mean, sure, it's already at the point that you can build MS-DOS and QEMU in about 15 seconds. Where if you built it on period hardware, take a couple hours. Yes, I've done it. So I'm like, I'm working on Linux. I should be able to do the development directly. I managed to do a port of the assembler by hand because somehow the source code had gotten out.
Wait.
That wasn't entirely true of the linker. And for that reason, I decided to have a machine learning model go after the linker. So far, it's done a bang up job. Of course, the 90-90 rule holds as much for this as it does for a human project. The first 90% of a project takes 90% of the time. The other 10% takes the other 90%. And it's been like, I want to go on and work on this other project, but I don't have any free bots I can assign to the project right now. Would have been worse, except someone gave me a little money to use to get a little extra usage on one of them. And then said, whatever's left over, do whatever the heck you want with it. I said, I'm probably just going to take it, buy groceries. So here's where I'm going with this. I'm probably going to rely a bit more on a machine learning model to help me with my project. But I'll be like, if you got a problem with it, there's always FreeDOS. Or you can keep pirating MS-DOS like you've been doing for the last 40 years. Don't tell me you haven't. I have. And I'll point out, like I said, I'm not doing the same thing. A lot of people are going to say, oh, give me a program that does this. And then just wait it out and see what the bot coughs up. Of course, if you do that, you're going to get terrible results. But if you're doing like I'm doing, you're holding its hand, you're giving it a lot of stuff to start from instead of having to start from the ground up. You got a lot of arcane knowledge you can provide that's going to affect the project. And in fact, it's because of my arcane knowledge and because I keep suggesting, maybe we should try this compiler. Maybe we should try this assembler. Maybe we should look at Quick Basic. And, we get mired down in the details. The same thing is probably going to happen with a human on the other end. It just speeds up the process. The amorality of these models is probably also to my benefit. Let's see what comes out. Jesus freak out.